So today we're talking about inherited IRAs. Is that correct? That's our topic.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. Inherited IRAs.
Inherited
yes.
IRAs. So what are we talking about as far as inherited IRAs? Because in my mind, I think it's different from being a beneficiary, right? Because
Yes, it is.
So what?
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It depends. CD Financial, where health meets wealth.
Welcome back to the CD Financial Podcast. CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Mark C., your host as always. That man across from me is Chuck D. Chuck, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm above ground. I'm strong. It's a beautiful day. Sun is shining.
Excellent.
What's there to complain about? Just go forward, man.
Excellent.
One foot in front of the other.
I'm happy to hear that. You look good. You look refreshed. I mean, did you good night's sleep?
Yeah. It was a good night's sleep. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's always nice when we can get in the morning and we can just feel refreshed from the day before.
Sure is. Yeah.
Did you get your walk in this morning?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, weekends are a little sketchy, but Monday through Friday, I'm pretty religious about getting my morning walk in. Barris is slowing down now.
Yeah.
He's an 80-pound lab. He's my son's service dog, but he just came out of service.
Yes.
He was almost 11 now, I think. And so, he's been following us around. He's never done that before. Like staying really close to us. Yeah. And we weren't sure what was going on. And my wife says, I'm going to take him to the vet. I said, do you think he's got any physical ailment? I don't think so. And she says, I think he does. I think he broke a tooth or something. And we haven't been identifying it. Well, turns out there wasn't anything wrong with him, except that the vet thought that maybe some of his discs were bulging or out of line. Ugh. So I was going to ask my chiropractor next door if she does dogs.
Some do.
Jude said that Jude said he saw online this chiropractor that adjusted a horse, and the horse was all relaxed just after the chiropractor got him adjusted. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say this: having interacted with Barris over the years, and since he's retired. We need to make sure we discuss Barris's retirement plan, right? But since he's retired, he's not working. I feel like he's become mushy. Like every time I see him, he's just a big mush ball. He wants to come over and give you love and get some love from you.
Yeah. And he's been coming upstairs because he always slept on his bed downstairs.
Yeah.
Now he wants to crawl in bed like the little cavalier we have jumps in with Sophia. Now he wants to, and it's like, dude, you're 80 pounds, right? No.
The bigger the dog, the more they think they're a lap dog. That's the way it goes. Yeah. But he's good. Well, I hope things settle in. We'll have to see what we can do. Get him chiropractic, maybe a nice Thai massage. We need to discuss that for him. We'll work on that later.
Straighten out.
Yeah, man, that's good. So he's retired. He's got to be living the good life now.
Right? Yeah.
It's all massages and chiropractic.
I got to keep that guy alive.
Good.
He's got to keep going. The best life he can have as a canine.
Absolutely. And they do so much for us. So good. I'm glad you're taking care of him, and I hope he keeps up. So today we're talking about inherited IRAs. Is that correct? That's our topic.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. Inherited IRAs.
Inherited IRAs. So what are we talking about as far as inherited IRAs? Because in my mind, I think it's different from being a beneficiary, right? Because
yes, it is.
So what?
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It depends.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. When you have an IRA and you pass away, your beneficiaries will inherit that IRA. So that is now an inherited IRA.
Right.
So it could be one and the same.
Okay.
Yeah. With what we're dealing with here is qualified money. Okay. So what that means in the IRS's view is it was either IRA money, Roth IRA money, 401k, TSP, 403b, 457. It's qualified by the IRS. There's a tax qualification that it has. And so they then they could become inherited 401ks. And then subsequently thereafter, usually the 401k will ask you to create an inherited IRA and roll the money out.
The reason I bring that up and start with that distinction as we kind of go into this topic, because in my mind, if you inherit an IRA, then it should be yours, and now I can make contributions to my IRA. Is that necessarily correct?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Because it's an inherited IRA, It's following the guidelines it's following the guidelines of the person who originally opened that IRA account up. So let me give you an example.
Please.
We've got a client who passed away. Let's call him Jack, okay? Mm-hmm. Jack passed away, and Jane was actually several years older than Jack. So this is different now because we're going to touch on spousal. When spouses inherit an IRA, they have two choices. They can keep it in their spouse's birth schedule.
Okay.
And why would Jane want to do that if Jack was, let's say Jack was 65 and Jane's 3.5 years older. She's 69 and a half, okay?
Okay.
Let's say supposedly, okay? I'm sorry. He was...
So if she's 3.5, 68 and a half.
68 and a half.
Yeah.
She might want to keep it as an inherited IRA because it will be based on his birth schedule. And so she'll have more time to plan for that money before she's forced to start removing it under the required minimum distribution schedule, RMD.
Okay.
It'll be based on his birth schedule, not hers. However, I'd point this out. Most spouses, when they inherit IRAs, they have the option to just roll it over to their own IRA.
Okay.
So spouses only have that spousal privilege that it could become an inherited IRA, and then they can roll it over to their own IRA.
All right.
And then if they're still working, like you mentioned, or you didn't say they're still working, but then they could contribute to their IRA if they're still working.
Right.
If you're retired, you can no longer contribute to an IRA.
Correct.
No more than you can contribute to a TSP or a 401k. If you're not working, you cannot contribute to a 401k, TSP, IRA. You have to have wages. Right. Yeah, and then you can defer or put in after-tax Roth dollars as well.
Okay. So in this case, let's say if Jane's not 3.5 years older, but maybe she's 7 years younger. So now you're saying she inherits that IRA, she can't take it, put it as her own, and then start making contributions to it.
She could. At that point, it might make sense for her.
Okay.
Right? And to just roll it over to her own. However, if you keep the money in the inherited IRA, there's benefits. Let's say you're 56 and you don't want to work. You don't need to work.
Okay.
Okay. The earliest that you can withdraw money from your own IRA, penalty-free, is
62.
59 and a half.
59 and a half.
59 and a half.
Inflating my numbers. I apologize.
Penalty-free. That's okay. That's why it's valuable to have you as a host because you're coming from the outside, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so 59 and a half, you can't get to your retirement money penalty-free until you're 59 and a half years old. Okay. If you have inherited IRA money, it has to be spent within 10 years. So within 10 years, folks, you have to spend down your inherited IRA. So if you've got 10 years that you can spend it, you could have been like me when mom passed away. Okay. Mom left us all with mostly IRA money that we inherited.
Okay.
Right. I always say we bought the first home in California, right, with our blood, sweat, and tears. And then we kept that home and we rented it. And we turned our attention almost, just under 2 years after we moved into that house, we turned our attention to another home back in basically South Laguna Beach. And we bought that home, and I always say, Mom helped buy the second house. So thank you, Mom, right?
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. But you're allowed to withdraw that money because you have to do it now within 10 years.
All right.
So you're allowed to withdraw all that money. If it's an inherited IRA, you could take it out all at once. So Mark, if I was 40, let's say, at the time that I inherited that IRA, well, I'm subject to a penalty for early withdrawal because I'm not, how old?
59 and a half.
Yeah, but it's an inherited IRA. So in that case, they're going to make me take it out and there's no penalty.
Okay.
So at that point, I could take it out all at once.
Okay.
In our case, I believe we took it out over a course of three years because we're trying to keep the taxes lower on that inherited money.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to pause real quick, because we've transitioned from speaking of spousal right to now kids, using your mom as an example. You have 10 years. When does that clock start ticking for you?
It's a good question too. It's the date of their death.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
The year that they that 10 years from that point, you have to spend that money out.
Okay.
Yeah. So thinking of somebody that we help and their sister passed away. Okay. Let's call her Susan. And Susan's sister passed away. So now she's inherited this IRA. How many years does she have?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
What happens after 10 years?
I would imagine you start losing money or someone comes and takes it. I don't know.
The IRS will levy a 50% penalty.
50%. Wow.
Yeah. So don't fool around.
Yeah.
You got 10 years to do it. Now, let's say you're still working and you don't need the money. Okay. Let's say, suppose that you're still working, you don't need the money. And let's say you're 53 years old. Okay. And you work till you're 62. That'll give you 1 year to pull that money out, right? Yeah. But let's say you're 56 and you want to work till you're 62 again. Well, then you might want to wait and delay withdrawing that inherited IRA money, possibly until you reach retirement and you're hopeful that your income will lower and you won't be in as high of a tax bracket. And then you could carve that money up over the next, 3 or 4 years. Okay. You can withdraw the inherited IRA money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the first question that comes up as soon as you say, when we start talking about you have a set amount of time, the clock is ticking, you're on the clock. Are there advantages to just lump sum it at year 9 or to take it out gradually over the course of a few years? I imagine a lot of that has to do with age, right?
Oh, there's a lot of it has to do with income and tax brackets. There's a lot of different uses.
Right.
So JT just inherited an IRA. His dad just passed away, okay? I have changed his name, but just so you know.
Yes.
So JT passed, his dad passed away back in the East Coast. And right now what we're looking at is using, follow me on this.
Yeah.
We can use the inherited IRA money because he has 10 years, he has to spend it.
Right.
And it brings up another subject. His dad was well past his required minimum distribution age. And so was mom when I inherited her IRA. Okay. So I was forced in year 1 to take out at least the minimum according to her birth schedule. She was 73. So they treated me as if I was a 73-year-old. See, when you're an inherited spouse, it's different.
Yeah.
The spouse can take over that account under their own birth schedule. And so they can roll it over to their own money. When you inherit an IRA, you can't move it to your own IRA unless you're a spouse. Again,
right.
You can't move it to a Roth IRA. You can't put that money into your retirement account at work, your 401k, your TSP. That doesn't work. It's right there, and it's got to be spent within 10 years.
10 years.
That's that. You can take it out all in 1 year. You can spread it across 10 years. You can take it out 1 year, leave it. But if you're under their required minimum distribution, because they were older, you're going to be forced to take out some amount, and it's going to increase every year.
Okay. The
percentage that you will have to withdraw. Okay. The factor continues to increase, not with your birth schedule, but with theirs, based on their birth date. Whoever it was that wrote you in as a beneficiary into their account. Okay. I was going to say it's usually a family member, but not always.
Yeah.
Could have been a good friend, right? So let's go back to JT.
Please.
Okay?
Yep.
JT, he's still pretty young, okay? JT's 50. He's got the privilege of retiring early under his federal job. He's special provisions, law enforcement, air traffic, or firefighters. So he's talking about retiring pretty soon here. Excellent. Okay? But we'd like to enact a tax plan where we can start to do Roth conversions. Take possibly his TSP. It's a big fat TSP. But get it over while he's young and he's got time behind him and he's not working another job. So his income's gone lower. We can get after that TSP money and start to convert it. You have to roll it over to an IRA. And then from there, you can go to a Roth IRA. Okay, so we're talking tax planning now.
Right.
Relatively advanced. But let's say you don't have a ton of savings money sitting around. How are you going to pay the Roth conversions?
It's got to get out of pocket, I would imagine.
Out of pocket. Yeah, you can't withhold money until you're 59 and a half from the Roth conversion. Let's say we do 50,000 Roth conversion and you want to withhold 20% federal tax. Yeah. Okay? That's 10 grand. Yeah. If you do that, they're going to penalize the withholding as if it was withdrawn prior to 59 and a half. It's really weird.
Oh.
It's really weird. So they'll ding you on a 10 grand, you're going to lose $1,000 in penalties. But if you got this inherited IRA money,
Yeah.
they're not going to ding you. You got to take that money out within 10 years.
Because you have 10 years.
Yeah. So in the inherited IRA money, we can withdraw a portion of that inherited IRA to pay that tax bill.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
I like that.
It's pretty cool. You use the money that you inherited. You got to get rid of it anyway.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, in JT's case, there was other money that he inherited from his pops.
Yeah.
So you could use that too. You could use a combination. But in this case, you've got to spend the inherited IRA money within 10 years. So if you got to spend it, why not spend it on your own life plan?
Why not?
Because let's say from 52 to 62, you're done over 10 years and you get your entire TSP over to Roth. Guess what? From 62 to the rest of your life and your spouse's life, that money grows tax free.
Yes.
And when you withdraw it, it's tax free. If your wife is gone, her husband, and you're gone and there's still money left, your inheritors, your kids, grandkids will inherit it.
Tax free.
Tax free.
Very nice.
So inherited IRAs can have a lot of different uses. But if you're not the spouse, you're going to have to spend it within what?
10 years.
Within 10 years, you got to spend that inherited IRA down. And if the person you inherited it from was not your spouse and they were into their RMDs, then you're going to have to do what?
You got to get it. You got
to pull those RMDs out.
Yep.
Every year that you're underneath that. Now, let's say they were 72 and they weren't under the RMDs and you inherited an IRA from your parent, let's say. Okay, from your mom or dad. You inherited an IRA, but they weren't old enough yet. That doesn't matter. The following year, let's say they become 73, but you say, oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
They are, you're right. But you inherited that IRA from them. And so now they're gonna say, wait a minute. This inherited IRA is based on this gentleman or this lady's birth date. And so, by the way, Mark, you've got to withdraw some money from that inherited IRA this year.
This year.
Yeah.
So at that point, waiting till the end of the 10-year is just not an option.
Well, it is an option, but for that required minimum payment or distribution, there's no option there.
Right.
You have to withdraw that money. Whatever amount that is, according to that withdrawal factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starts in the 3-point-something percentile range and then starts to rise sharply as that person's birth schedule, even though they're dead, keeps on rising.
Right.
It's not a simple subject, as you can see.
Well, I'm glad
you're kind of glazing over.
I'm glad you brought it up because I'm processing as you're saying all this. I'm processing it. And
over to
and this is something that is good to talk about. It's good to bring up and talk about because again, a lot of times when we hear the word inherit, right? It's for a lot of people just inherit. Here it is. This is your inheritance, right? And there's no option. It's just here's your money. This is what you get. You get it today. Do what you want with it. But in this case, you have some options as far as when to pull it out, how much to pull out, and depending on how much you're making, if you're still working. There are certain advantages to postponing that or getting it early. Again, we're talking about tax plans and different tax brackets and all that.
That's a lot. Just what you just said.
Yeah.
What you just said in review was a lot. I mean, you think about it. There was a lot of different factors going on.
Absolutely.
Right? Depends on your age, your timeline for retirement, your financial needs. And I am just so passionate about getting all your money over to a place that nobody can touch.
Yep.
No state government, certainly not the IRS, right? No Uncle Sam in your family business anymore. That money is just the golden goose.
It's for you.
Yeah. So sometimes an inherited IRA. In our case, there were six of us kids, and most everybody took it out in the first 2 years, right? But I think we spread it over 3 years. Our family and one of my brothers, I think, because he's quite an accomplished businessman too. So yeah, we spread across a few years, but as I said before, that really helped us with down money.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you're going to withdraw that money to pay the tax bill on a Roth conversion or any other tax bill, remember that. Let's say we do that $50,000. Let's say we do a $100,000 Roth conversion.
Okay.
Okay. So, and let's say I retired early, but my spouse is still making a couple $100,000. So my income is now not $200,000, but I put $100,000 in that inherited IRA. It's now $300,000.
Okay.
Now, if I go to pull inherited IRA money out to pay that tax bill, I've also put another, let's say I want to get, I want to pay that $20,000 federal tax bill, right?
All right.
On $100,000, that's right. That's 20 grand, right?
Yep.
So I want to pay that tax bill, right? If I'm pulling out $20,000 to pay that tax bill, that's not exactly right, because I also incurred taxes from the inherited IRA withdrawal.
Okay.
So So if I'm still in that 20%, let's say I want to withdraw 20% for Fed tax, probably in 22 or 24%. But let's say I want to just withhold 20%. So on 20,000 net to pay the other tax bill, what am I going to need? I'm going to need 25 grand. Yeah. And then, so I won't pull out 20 grand to pay the 20,000 on the Roth conversion. I'm going to pull out 25,000 and I'm going to withhold on my inherited IRA, right?
Right.
I could just withhold all of it. That's another weird thing you can do. So when you got the inherited IRA, you can say, you know what? I'm going to withhold 70% federal tax and 25% state. And so you can pull the inherited IRA withdrawal out, but you only get like 5%, right? Net, right? So on 25 grand, what's 5%, right? It's 10% is 2,500, 1,250.
1,250.
Yeah. You pocket the 1,250 and you just pay the tax bill on the inherited IRA. So you don't have to touch that 100,000, every dollar, every blessed dollar. Anytime you're doing a Roth conversion, every dollar you can get into your Roth is a blessed one. So if you can do the entire 100,000 and not withhold any taxes, you can use the inherited IRA money to pay the entire tax bill and withhold it on the way out when you pull the money out.
Yeah.
If you do it around the same time as a Roth, there won't be any penalties from the IRS or the state either. So do it at the same time. You pull out the inherited IRA, pay the tax bill, and just withhold all the money.
Okay.
Ta-da!
See, and that's a whole nother layer we've just added in the last couple of seconds there with that comment. And
I think you're over withholding that illustration, right?
Yeah.
Because I said 20% federal and whatever it is state for you. We don't know. These numbers are illustrative only.
Right. Because different states, different tax brackets. Some don't have a.
I don't know what your federal tax bracket is either, and I don't know what your family's income is, and what your spouse makes, and if you're retired or not. These are just ideas.
Right.
They are things we've actually done here. And by the way, folks, most financial firms are not doing this. You want to know why?
What's that?
Well, it adds the extra work onto your shoulders. And most folks are not hiking their sleeves up and looking forward to hard work. Yeah. They want to take the easy road and the easy money. Yeah. And this is not. This is going to take a little blood and sweat and tears.
Right.
But I'm from a blue collar town, Mark. I don't mind the extra work, right? We got a team that's set up to do this for you. Yeah. So this really, it's fantastic.
We work hard like the Steelers.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. And lately, their run game is looking good.
Yeah. Well,
special teams is killing it. Blocked field goal attempts, blocked punts.
I sense a separate podcast where we just talk Steelers football, but that's a topic for another day. They look good. Salty.
And TJ Watt.
They're salty. And Elliott, the kid they just picked up. Yeah.
And what's the other? It's not Highsmith, but it starts with an Hayward.
Hayward, yeah.
Oh, man, are they looking good? Tell you what. Between the, whew.
Grab me my terrible towel, Chuck.
And what's Beanie Bishop?
Yeah.
Who's picked off 2 passes where he had to juggle it, and then he's just pulling it in, and I'm like, oh, this is looking really good, folks. Yeah, this is looking good too. Yeah. All right. So
let's get to the health tip. How's that? Because otherwise we're just going to spend the next hour.
Absolutely. Let's talk health tip.
Health tip. So I've got something for you because I know you're a sauna guy. Right?
I am a sauna guy. I wish I was a sauna guy weekly.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, honestly, probably I'm hitting every 3 weeks, maybe every 15 days at best. But I really want to do it once a week.
So
I'm going to try to get you in there today.
I'm more of a cold plunge, but I like the saunas. I like the idea of it. And if I start down this path, honestly, we can do 45 minutes on sauna benefit. We're not. But I'm going to give you one benefit of sauna today.
Sure, shoot.
And maybe we'll just do this on several episodes, different benefits. One benefit because when you start to get into cold and flu season, for a lot of people, right? That's one of those things that we're always looking for ways to do it. If you're taking supplements or whatever it is you're doing, one of the great benefits of sauna, and it's been proven that regular sauna reduces the incidence of colds in humans.
Really?
Yes.
I believe that.
And there is some evidence now, I don't know of any human trials, but at least with animals, it helps protect against influenza. Because if you think about it, what does your body do when you get a fever, right? It raises the temperature to kill
off stuff.
So it's being shown, at least in animals, that raising their heat through sauna is actually working to protect against influenza.
For animals.
I don't know of any human trials yet.
So they got animal saunas.
Yeah, but it would make sense, right? It would make sense if.
Oh, I see. They're doing trials on animals. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It does. Yes. Well, I've heard, Marcus, that regular sauna, I think it's probably the Norwegians or the Scandinavians that they do it several times a week. And there is a 60% reduction or higher for chances of stroke and heart attack just from regular sauna treatment. Now, I don't know in their culture if they're doing it. I'll tell you how I do it. It's pretty long. I do about 17 minutes, and then I do a cold plunge or shower for about 3 minutes, and then I go back in for about 10 to 13 minutes. So it's a little bit long.
Okay.
Yeah, or even so, but I bet you maybe they're doing it, if they're doing it 2 or 3 times a week, they're probably just hitting it for 15 minutes.
20 minutes, you start to see the benefits.
Yeah, and then they're probably just, but I got that from he was Canadian years ago. I was 15 and we were skiing up in Canada. And I remember him telling me, you won't be sore if you go into the sauna.
Yeah.
And we all went in, a bunch of us kids and him. It was part of the chalet that we rented. And he told us, now you go and you get a cold shower. I was like, what? Man, it's cold too. You have to get used to it. It's mind over body, right?
Yeah. They also roll in the snow, depending on where you're at.
Wow.
So,
see, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
But Angie has told me you got to do at least 3 minutes when you're doing the cold plunge. Yeah. And then after the sauna, I do another cold shower as well.
Very nice.
My mom told me that my grandfather from Lebanon, he always took a cold shower every morning.
Yep.
I'm like, wow. And he lived to be 93. She said, yeah, I don't know why, but that was his thing. It was always a cold shower. Now, I'm assuming he probably didn't even have hot water where he came from.
Possibly. Possibly, yes.
Like 1900 or something like that.
It wasn't a choice. The cold shower was just.
Yeah. Yeah. So back in the old country, probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. But that was his practice. Every morning, cold. And you're snappier when you get out of a cold shower. Like Repats, he was from the Tyrol in Austria. He was the Alpine. The Alpine peoples. Yeah. Tyrol, they call themselves Tyroleans or something. Anyway, I remember he was going out and it was a Pittsburgh winter. I was going to work and my mom was taking them on tours in Pittsburgh. And he had borrowed one of my wool coats, but he was open. His hair was still wet. And I go, hey, it's cold out there. Aren't you concerned? He goes, no, I took a cold shower. After I took my hot shower, I rinsed with cold water. And then he proceeded to tell me that was something they were taught as the Tyrol peoples, that they were taught to always finish their shower with cold water. Closes the pores, makes them more hardy. Yeah. So I don't know.
We can talk cold plunge and cold showers another day. I want to revisit the sauna thing because I think there's so many benefits.
Oh, I feel so good when I'm done with sauna.
And we can deep dive into a few here and there, a little bit at a time. But so there it is. So protect yourself against colds, against flus. Yeah. Get in that sauna, man. We're going to do it a little later.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Then we're doing a sauna today.
Yes. It's a commitment. Yes. It's a done deal.
Done.
I'm glad we talked about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for all of you too. I can tell you one last thing. When I walk back from the sauna, because it's like 8 doors down, the clubhouse has the sauna. And I have to heat it up. It takes 20 minutes to heat it up. Yeah. Whereas infrared, I don't know if you mentioned that or not.
No, we'll that's zappy. Topic for another day.
Time. Yeah, but when I walk back from the sauna to the house, I no longer need a jacket. In the evening, I feel really good, and I feel stronger and loose. Man, do you feel loose? It feels so good.
Giddy up.
Yeah. Pull out all that inflammation, all that jive. Get rid of it. I will tell you to go in. I hit the hot tub for 3 minutes.
Okay.
It opens my pores. And then I go into the sauna.
All right.
I like to do that. So you might want to take a hot shower before going into the sauna. Opens your skin up in your pores so you can sweat a little quicker.
We're going to start layering this stuff. This is a good topic, but very good. So for all you out there, get in the sauna. Saunas are good, man. It's good for you, good for you. And find a place that has a sauna. And inherited, right? We started out talking about inherited IRAs. Get someone on your side who can help you. It's a lot there, a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
You want to make sure whatever it is that you decide to do, it's the best for you and your family. So I think
and I'm going to mention one other thing.
Go ahead.
If it's an inherited 401k, a lot of times they don't even want you to keep it there. They're going to ask you to roll it out, right? Or to put it in your own name. Obviously, it will be when it's an inherited 401k. It'll be in your name, but they really don't want to administer that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no real good benefit to it. It has to be spent in 10 years. Yeah. And I'd even have to check. I don't have a phone close by to see about TSP if they make you take that out or not. No. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's
as a spousal account, not.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we can touch on again. We'll hit the topic again and go in a different direction because this was pretty general, but it just shows the need to have someone on your side who knows what they're doing as far as planning for you and your family.
General, huh?
Well, I think we hit a lot of
nitty-gritty.
We hit a lot of high points there, but I think we could deep dive even a little further in this.
Everybody's circumstances are very different. You're right about that, and that's folks. That definitely takes a one-on-one visit to figure that out.
Absolutely,
we're available for that too.
Absolutely. So we encourage everybody to like and subscribe to these videos. You will be getting them right away as soon as they're released. And we have a link down there to contact CD Financial. You want someone on your side who's going to walk you through this and make sure, again, what's best for you and your family. And everyone is individual. Everyone's a little bit different. So you need that guidance. So, Chuck, thank you very much for the information. We appreciate it. We're going to go get in the sauna here in a second, I think. All right. Until next time, CD Financial, where health meets wealth. We look forward to seeing you back.
CD Financial, where health meets wealth.